Yeah, he's actually advertising it in LFG, but I'm going to help him bring it to light on the podcast today. And I'll probably be advertising it over the next couple of weeks till they do the event. Let me turn that off. Fire up a little music till the start of things. I gotta wait on some others to get here, and then we may have a couple of people joining late. One such person, Pinky was, or Hold Me. He goes by a couple of different names from Retribution. Had some stuff he wanted to bring to the table. He's gonna be running a little late, so I told him just once he was able to make it, DM me and pull him in. I'm also gonna run some ideas past you guys about the future of the podcast and some other stuff. So a few things to plan out. Some people have been asking me about it, so I'm going to see what you guys think and go from there. That's about all I can really do on that front. I don't know if Karis is gonna make it on time because he was party last night, and when he does that, he usually runs a little late. So we'll get back into the PvP in a little bit, gang. I'm only one bar from 62 in the day, and there's still a lot of hours in the day. And Gooba running around in circles. He's a good healer. You ever get in a group with him? Let me send out some messages. May talk about a few different things. I've had some people request a few things, so I said, well, I'll put it to the test and see what people say. About all I can really do on that front. I definitely got to do some farming on alts to get supplies, make potions for this guy. Because if I'm gonna start running with war bands, I at least need to have the pots and stuff I need. I don't pick up liniments. I'm just not gonna spend the money. There's like a cloud of smoke sitting in here. But we'll give it a few minutes, guys. I gotta get stuff ready as it is. I've also been watching the forums too. Oh boy. I see a lot of people discussing the tank situation, so to speak, or their thoughts on it. Let me mute some stuff here, gang. That should take care of that. Change things up just a bit. Alright guys, looks like some people running a little late, so I give them a little bit of time, but I'll start things here shortly. It gives me some time to finish up some details before we get going with things. Give me just a second. No worries, Karis. Some of the other people's running a little bit late or won't be here for a little bit, or one's finishing up his war band that he's in. wouldn't be the first time we started little bit late. Let's see. Let's take the stream rater thing off there for right now. Anyway, I'm just gonna blank that out. So the only thing really, you just see the timer and that. I'll leave that up. But as always, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the standard spiel with everything, so people kind of understand the 411. For those that don't know how my podcasts work, it's pretty much open forum for people to discuss topics that they're very interested in on or feel very strongly about. Issues they want to see addressed, or have an idea they want to bring to the table. The reason I started doing this was to get the ball rolling with having communication between community and the devs, because a lot of stuff was getting lost on the forums, or the devs just don't have the time to dig through the forums to find everything. Max and others have said this repeatedly. So I send them a copy of every podcast completely unedited, and they listen to it. So every time I get it done, I post it up YouTube, and I send it to them, and they listen to it. Max tends to listen to them on his way to work or on his way home from work, but they do actually listen to them. So your thoughts and ideas do get heard. Now, whether or not an idea that you put forward ends up in the game is a whole nother matter. But they do listen. From time to time, I do have members of the staff that come on the show. Some of the CMs. I've had the devs on the show, like Max, Dalen, Rubius, in times past. I'm doing okay. Tosh, just getting things started. Few people running late, so I'm just kind of explaining a few things for some new people that weren't aware how things work. Got a few things to lay out today. Maybe some changes to how the podcast runs. We'll see. Some announcements for some things that are going on the server. I think people might like, but don't know. But person that's doing that will be on a little later. just some general conversation, and then some topics that I noticed on the forums that'll get brought up for general discussion for you guys to debate back and forth. The usual stuff. I try to pick through what I can to find solid topics, but ultimately it's up to you guys to submit an idea. Sometimes people will just bring up a random topic, and that's what we'll talk about. It just varies. Tosh has been on the show a couple of times. So yeah, which how are you doing, Tosh? Oh, cares. Doing all right. I'm just tired. Stand by. Let me get Discord open up. Say something. I think I got it set right.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, you're coming in clear. And as always, Karis has been handling the bulk of the talking for me, guys, because as you guys can hear, it's a struggle for me to talk continuous at times. Sometimes I can get my words out okay, but I tire out and have to stop. That's why I go quiet like I do. It's not because I don't want to speak. I just simply have to stop because I am physically unable to keep going like I used to. But I keep trying. But anyway, Karis, how you doing today?
Well, as you know from being in my stream last night for a little while, how can I phrase this in the PG version here? When I started streaming last night, my boys and I had already been out to our favorite watering hole. So um, I think the
Three
phrase is,
sheets to the wind.
yeah. So that's my voice may reflect that this morning, but uh, otherwise I'm fine. We had a good time last night. Uh, Even after I started streaming, I had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
Tosh, if you'd like to join us in the comms here, more than welcome. Uh,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Really.
did you see what Tosh wrote?
Uh, since the rework and first initial round of catches, updates, balance is done for now, how has the game either improved or gone backwards, in my opinion? Okay, first let me give my usual introduction spiel for anyone who may be listening, and then I will get to Tosh, that's right. I will get to Tosh's question. This is, of course, the Toth Monitor podcast. My primary purpose of being here is just to help out, and which I'm happy to do because, as Toth explained, if he had to do 4 hours or 2 hours, whatever, of all the talking, so it gets hard on him. So I don't mind helping out, and that's the primary reason I'm here. In the spirit of answering Tosh's question, that's a good place to start. Let me again tell everyone that I come into today's podcast with no complaints. I mean, I know a couple times I've come on here and had something to open up with that kind of bothered me, but that's not true this time. Lately when I've been playing, I've kind of gotten used to the changes that have been implemented, and I've done some running around and sort of explored the PVE section just to see how all those changes have affected um, people adapt. I think the changes I think have benefited certain classes, not just destruction classes, but I think the changes have benefited certain classes, perhaps more so than others. But again, I'm not complaining about that. It just is what it is. That's always been part of the game. It's always been part of this game that you sort of have to adapt to what's going on. So, with that as the underlying spirit, one issue I was going to talk about at first is the PVE section, and I was asked about it last night on my stream. Somebody came in and made the comment that the PVE changes with all the abilities, all the crowd control abilities that have been given to the mobs, has sort of made PVE less fun. I think my short opinion on that is, I think all the crowd control that has been given to some of the PVE mobs is annoying. It can be annoying, but I don't think it has, and that's about it. Some of it is annoying, but it isn't a deal killer. You can still get out there and farm for whatever match you want, or you can still go out there and complete like the epic quest, or you can still go out and do the dungeons. It's not. I don't see it as a game breaker, right? Tosh, both of you. um, I don't. I just know the PVE stuff. I just don't see as a game breaker. So I guess basically, unless somebody else wants to bring up something specific
It
about that, uh,
is as far as the PvE goes. I've heard some of the complaints. If you look at it in one regard, some of the abilities that the NPCs have is some of the same stuff you run into with the player base. If anything,
yeah.
it should hone your skills of how to combat it and make you that much more alert to what's going on around it. Use it as a training mechanism to increase your PvP skills. Or it's the same with the dungeons and working with people. This is where I've tried to point that out to people. I'm like, you can think ill of PvE all you want to, but when it comes to the level of team play, it does produce results and can help you increase your skills in PvP if you'll let it. Problem is, most people look down their nose at it. That's fine. You don't like it. That's your thing. But
Well,
it's
a lot of
if anything, I would say it's added an element of a challenge, and the reason it was done was because people kept complaining that PVE was too simple, and that's why they wasn't trying it. It's because it was too easy. wasn't difficult enough.
my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the majority of non-dungeon PVE. Okay, set the dungeons aside for a moment. I think the vast majority of the PVE that is done is done by people who are farming for materials, or again, perhaps running the epic quest, or maybe there's a particular quest that they want to do for whatever reason in one of the new cities or something like that. And all of that is still doable. I mean, the individual who was in my stream last night talking about the PVE stuff and how aggravating it was, like I could tell it was aggravating to him. Uh, but for those who are going out and still trying to do some PVE, it's I get the fact that some of the crowd control stuff, for example, I'll just give one example. In Cadron Valley on the overlook, that over the valley that runs from the train station to Ice Heath Crossing. What is it? Gromero Crossing to Ice Heath Crossing. Okay, up on top there on the overlook, there have always been these little Eric Cartman looking things. Nurglings, I guess they are. They all look like Eric Cartman, but anyway, they didn't, they didn't used to be any concern at all when you would go up there. Now they have a disable, little level 31 mob, and they have a complete disable when you go up there. Okay, so when I go up there to watch what's going on, like in the valley below, you have to move a little differently now. You have to take a little bit different route. Are you getting nabbed, then you have to suffer through their disable and all that. So it's just, to me, it just kind of made things a bit more interesting, and that's the only example I'm going to give. But I suppose my main point is I don't see it as a deal breaker. It just, PvE is just a bit more, a bit more challenging. That's all. So, okay, now to the RVR aspect of it, Natasha, I hope you're still out there. But anyway, to the RVR aspect of it, again on my stream. Well, I'm sorry, Todd. Did you want to add anything else before I move on?
No.
Okay. To the RVR aspect, last night on my stream again, I was asked about Swordmaster, but specifically, someone wanted to know if I had stopped sort of playing my Swordmaster because of the changes. And the answer to that was no. The reason I've sort of slowed down on playing my Swordmaster has nothing to do with the changes. And there have been, again, some changes that are specific to Swordmaster that, in effect, have the same ramifications as the PvE changes. You have to adapt your play style in order to fully sort of accommodate what's been going on. But the reason I've kind of slacked off, or the reason I don't play my Swordmaster so much anymore, is there's really not much left to do. I hit renown rank 90. I've got 10,000 kills on 4 different categories. The next one is Witch Elf. But Tosh was the first guy that I know of to get 10,000 Witch Elf kills. He did that some time ago, actually. I need like 47 more to get to 10,000, and I plan to do that. And once I do that, that's probably going to be it. But Swordmasters are still worth playing. Two-hand Swordmasters are still worth playing, I believe. It's just what the changes have done in regard to a two-hand Swordmaster. What the changes have done, they've caused the class to come full circle back to that period of time in the history of Return of Reckoning, where no one, well, I wouldn't say no one, but a lot of people don't want you to play two-hand Swordmaster. Now let me expand on that. Back when forts first came out.
1 second. Ad break.
Oh, we got an ad count? Okay. I'll hang on for a moment. Oh, man.
other person that should be joining us should be here in a little bit.
It's over.
No, not yet. 10 seconds.
Okay. For some reason, I can't see it on my screen. Okay, it's not actually showing.
Ad breaks.
Okay. And we're back once again. Welcome to the Toth Modern Con. Sorry, guys. Remember, I'm drinking up from. I'm waking up. Okay, never mind. I can't even get that part out. All right, but the issue I was talking about was two-hand sword masters. Okay, the example I was going to give is back when the fortress assaults first started. Now, to put this in context, when the fortress assaults first started on the server, they were a big deal because that was the only way you could get invader gear. And everybody wanted invader gear. And, people were on fire. We've got to win the fort. We've got to get the bags. We've got to get the invader gear. And so one night I showed up for a fort in two-hand spec, and a guy actually said to me, if you play two-hand spec and we lose this fort, it will be all your fault. Now, that's exactly what he said. And I later made a meme out of that. But we won that particular fort, by the way. But anyway, that's how people felt. In that they thought that the class mechanics were such that if you were going to be in a warband, you had to switch. You had to switch to sword and shield, otherwise you were useless. Well, I disagreed, as I usually do. I mean, I disagreed, and I played the class as it was, and like I said, we won that particular fort. City sieges were the same way. So what the current system has done is sort of brought the Swordmaster class and two-hand spec back to that point in server history, where there are some people on the server, not as many, but there are some people on the server who get mad when you show up in a fight in a scenario or whatever in two-hand spec. They get mad because they think it's a non-viable spec. And if you're playing that, if you're leveling as two-hand, you just have to, realize that there are a number of different ways I can address that issue, I suppose. But I'll try to be polite since this is Todd Monroe's podcast. But there are a number of people that are going to act that way, and you just have to, just ignore it and work it out for yourself. Play the class that you enjoy. Play the class that you enjoy in a manner that you enjoy it. So, is Swordmaster non-viable in two-hand? No, it isn't. You mind if I put a link up?
Go ahead. I gave you mod status, so you good.
Okay. All right, let me get this. This is my most recent Warhammer video, and I published this 9 days ago. Okay, I put this on my page 9 days ago, and that details getting to the 10,000 dock kill mark. And one thing I want to point out about this is that having killed 10,000 docks, I reached that milestone 2 days after somebody came in game and was giving me a bunch of crap about how, you could never kill a healer. In the two-hand spec, you could never kill a healer, any healer. 2 days later, I get 10,000 docks. So, the question is, I'm saying that two-hand SM gets folks mad just for playing it. It gets some people mad because since the patch went through, Scrafty Jack, thanks for coming in, but Since the patch went through, I've had I don't know 3 or 4 people in different situations tell me that I shouldn't be playing two hand anymore. That two hand is dead. That the days of the DPS Swordmaster are over. That dogs and cats are sleeping together, and it's the end. Can you not see that it's the end? That's kind of the okay. So I've had say at most I've had 4 people in game tell me that. Okay, so it's not like everybody says it. It's just enough, for me to notice it. And but yeah, some folks get mad just because you're in two hand spec. Now the two hand black orc, I don't think it's no, I don't. I don't see that it's the same because two hand black orcs, and I've talked to a few black orc players since the patch. Black orc players and other destructions, who typically play destruction most often with their time, seem to think that black orcs are in, not probably, but they seem to think that black orcs are in one of the better positions that they've been in some time. And here's again the best example I can give you, Scrafty, about that is in playing a two-hand Swordmaster over the years. I've had people ask me, or I've seen where people have asked other players, okay, what should I play? A Chosen or a Black Orc? Okay, now I'm not trying to be rude here. I don't mean it that way. I was always just trying to be sort of sarcastic, I suppose, but that's it. But my answer always was, play a Black Orc because they're easier to kill. And for years, Tosh says he's got to go. Thanks, Tosh, for coming in, and I appreciate the question. But anyway, that's what I would say. I would say play a Black Orc because they're easier to kill, and for years, that was true. Black Orcs were always easier targets than most Chosen that you would go up against, right? That's no longer true. Since the patch, that's no longer true. Black Orcs, there are some Black Orcs out there right now, that it's like they, it's like they have defense shields from Star Trek all around them. I mean, there are some Black Orcs out there right now that can mitigate damage in the same sense as an S&B Chosen. And exactly what spec they're in, I can't tell you. I don't know. But all I can tell you is the effect of fighting them, right? And part of that, of course, is the damage nerf to Swordmasters. Part of what accounts for that is the damage nerf to Swordmasters that went through with the recent patches. But so that was certainly true when I last played a couple years ago. Interesting how much the recent patches have changed things. Yeah. The other class, there are 2 other classes I want to talk about. Toth, do you have anything at the moment before I move on?
Well, similar to what you were just speaking about, I was talking to somebody about, a couple of us have been speaking about trying older builds that people seem to think are dead. They're not really dead. They're not the best optimal, but they still are viable for what you do with them. And I had a chance to put it to the test in some war bands. The shield priest. People say, well, it's never gonna outperform book priest. That's true, but that's not why I was rolling shield priest. The reason I rolled shield priest is because of the fact that shield priest and the way you set it up, you can run with the melee. And what commonly happens in most order war bands with the melee is they will separate from the rest of the war band and they get isolated, and it's hard for the more traditional healers to stay up with that because of the constant movement, whereas that shield priest can move, and as long as they're hitting and taking hits and stuff, they can keep their heals going, so they can keep the melee covered long enough to buy the regular healers time to move and get in position, so that you don't have any big gaps in the healing, which is something I've seen repeated. That's been an Achilles heel for order, but people don't want to try it. They're determined. No, it's not the meta. Hang the meta. Right now, what we got going on is Destro's rolling the Choppa train with the double channel and that crit buff on the Choppas, and Order's having a hard time stopping it.
I was eventually going to work my way around to that.
So we need to change up our tactics on Order to deal with it. We can't keep just doing the same thing that's always been done. It's not working. My streams and countless others, one Order warband after another gets run over.
What, Toph, if you don't mind, I want to take that issue and
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I will come back to that. I will. I want to come back to that, but for the moment, I want to set it aside. Because in the question that Tosh asked, there are two other classes I want to briefly talk about. Because again, I talked about this last night on my stream when I was playing my White Lion, and we were having some chat about White Lions for a while. And my biggest complaint about what the changes did to the White Lion class was the nerf to loner spec. And in particular, putting a cooldown back on pounce in loner spec, as opposed to, there used to not be a cooldown on pounce. When you played loner spec, it was the trade-off, right? It was the trade-off. You gave up your cat, but in return, you got the fact that there was no cooldown on pounce. Well, somebody wrote a letter to the editor, I guess, and they changed that. Loner White Line is AE 32156. Sounds like a prison designation, man. AE 32156. Sorry. Loner White Line is strongest warband class now, though. What? Okay, you beat me to it. I mean, Loner White Lion is a very strong spec. The putting a pounce back on cooldown is just, it's annoying as hell. I think. Okay, so these are not mutually exclusive, right? Both of these things can be true. The White Lion Loner spec is very effective, but it's also true that having a cooldown on pounce, I think, was ill-conceived. I think it was ill-conceived. And notice everyone who may hear this, and if any of the dev team hear this, I'm not calling any names. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying anyone is stupid or any of that other stuff. All I'm saying is, I think that particular change was just ill-conceived. And there have been a lot of instances in playing my White Lion since the patch where I know I could have killed someone. I could have gotten, the kill on someone were it not for the fact that I had to suffer through a cooldown with Pounce. And as an opposite, another thing they did with Magus, I often talked about why a Magus needs a disarm. I think that is one of the dumbest things in the game, and always has been. But in the most recent patch, they didn't nerf the disarm for a Magus. They made it longer. They added another second to it. And I think a Magus having a disarm is one of the dumbest things that's ever been in this game since inception. But anyway, I digress. So, but I was asked about this last night on my stream with the White Lion in loner spec and all that. And AE 32156 makes a good point, though. It is loner. I think loner spec is still the way to go, and it's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with it. And then finally, another thing that came up last night on my stream that we talked about a little bit was witch elves, and I have the comment I made that in getting to renown rank 80 on my witch elf was stupid fast, and I mean it was fast, the fastest I've ever ranked any character to renown rank 80 ever, and in the time that I've played it since 80, I'm up to 85 already. I don't even bother to keep track, man, really. But I've thought about pushing my witch elf to 90 just to see how fast I can do it. And with the change, since I played my witch elf since the patch, that only seems to have, I guess I could say either one, that only seems to have gotten better, meaning it's even more effective or it's only gotten worse, meaning the same thing. It's even quicker now than it used to be.
Our other guest is here, so once you're done, I'll give them
let me wrap
the floor.
Okay, let me wrap this up then. But witch elves right now is witch elves and witch hunters, I guess, but I think witch elves in particular are still the one class in the game where you can go out and you can run solo and do all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. And nobody gets upset about it. That's always been one of the beauties of playing a witch elf to me, is that when I was playing solo on my Swordmaster, there were a lot of times that people got upset about the fact that I was playing solo. You play a witch elf, nobody cares. And with the patch changes that have come through, that's only gotten better. It's only gotten better for a witch elf player. So if you want to level something fast, and have fun doing it, roll yourself up a witch elf and go to town, because it's just stupid easy, man. It really is. All right, go ahead, Toth, please.
Our gang, one of the guests that had wanted to be on the show to discuss an idea that had been formulated is Pung from Retribution. He is currently in the channel. Pung, if you'd like to introduce yourself, you have the floor, and feel free to lay it out there. If you'd like to, you pop into the stream chat, and I can mod you up for a second, so you can post a link to that Discord if you want to advertise it in the stream chat as well.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Toth. Yeah, I'll just send you. I don't use Twitch a ton, so I'll just send you a link to the Discord, and maybe you can share it for people. So just for the idea that Toth mentioned, that I'm here to talk about, I sent you a link, Toth, is a 6v6 tournament that I'm hosting, 6v6 ranked tournament. And so I guess I should introduce myself briefly. I'm Pung. I play mostly healer classes in Retribution, and I mess around with some healers on Destro too. I've been playing the game for a few months, so I'm quite new. And I've been, in addition to the Warband and City content, I enjoy the small-scale content a lot. I think it's really interesting and engaging part of the game. And although there are some weird things with balance, overall it's actually reasonably well balanced in a lot of ways, and that leads to some really fun and intense and interesting PvP encounters. So the ranked community in this game is fairly small, but quite committed. But it's not incredibly active because the seasons have not been launched for a little while. There was a season in the fall that saw quite a bit of play. I think well over 1,000 ranked matches were played. You'd have to check the boards, but we haven't been doing much ranked since then. So I've organized a 6v6 tournament for March 15th through 17th. So that's a weekend, Friday through Sunday. The tournament will primarily take place during EU prime time. And we've got 3 events in the tournament, a friendly 6v6 tournament. So that's for folks who maybe haven't played 6v6 before, aren't used to it, just want to form a team, see what the format's about. So that's one part of it. There will be a competitive tournament with, focused on people who've played a lot of ranked, who would like to build a meta comp and really push to win a tournament. And there's some quite experienced players for folks who know people like Edvarka or Matt. They're already forming teams. So I expect there to be some quite strong and interesting competition in that event. And then finally, and this is the one I think has been most popular so far, there is a faction tournament. So many people who play RoR are focused on playing, entirely dwarf classes, entirely greenskin classes, this sort of thing, as part of the immersion in the Warhammer universe. That can work all right in warband play. There are opportunities for that to be impactful. In 6v6, I think pure one race compositions are going to really struggle to be competitive. So we made another tournament where you must queue as 6 players from the same faction. And
I think we're on an ad break.
Oh, okay. When did I
No.
get cut on ad break? No?
Oh, we're not. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, thanks for checking though. Anyways, I was saying so those are the 3 tournament types. We actually have some excellent prizes in the tournament as well. I've thrown some event stews into the tournament prize pool, and a very generous member of the rank community donated 8 event rings. So those are really valuable, high quality rings. Stuff like ruby analysis and I forgot the list right now. It's in the Discord. You can check it out. There are 8 of them. All of them are very good. They're the BIS rings for various classes, and hoping to maybe source some other prizes. Got a couple more weeks before the 15th, so we'll see what else we can get thrown into the prize pool. And I'll be making a post soon about how how the prizes will be structured for the tournament. Some portion of it will be for purely for participation, so people who sign up and play their games will get entered into a raffle, and some of the prizes will be distributed through that. And then, so then there's the question of why 6v6? And I think there are 3 things that are good about 6v6. First of all, it's just a fun format. People who get into it tend to enjoy it a lot, and they play a lot of it. There's some people who only return to this game to play 6v6 because they find the mode just so fun and interesting. So I would encourage people who haven't tried it yet to check it out by joining the tournament. You can get some good cues doing this. It's also a good learning opportunity. So something that, if you're a warband player, a piece of the game that you're missing is the slightly more organized, coordinated, single target play and 2 and 3 and 4 person combos that tend to use different abilities, different specs, and tend to engage a little bit differently. Warbands are very chaotic, and the skill of following the leader and coordinating the AoE damage drops is important, but it's not the only thing going on. And sometimes if you play in a warband for an extended period of time, you'll tend to miss those finer details of what's happening because of the chaos of the warband. Getting into 6v6 and small scale more is a really good way to learn some of those finer details of the game, to see the game from a different perspective. And then I actually find, like, personally, from a healing perspective, bringing some of that knowledge back into warband will make you a stronger player. So I think that's, I kind of like the format for that reason. I think it's to be a well-rounded RoR player. You probably want to play some small scale to learn more about the game. And for me, at least, playing an MMO, I find that kind of the learning ladder of getting used to all the pieces of the game, all the pieces of your class, and putting that all together to become a stronger player is like a very rewarding part of playing the MMO. So that's something else that I like about it. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the goal is partly just to reinvigorate the format a little bit, get people into it a bit more, get people back into the game who might have not been playing. And so I'm hoping that the tournament will, there are people who want to play ranked, but it's a lot of work to spend 3 hours getting 12 people online at the same time to play 3 or 4 matches
Yeah.
when you can just log on and hop into Orbit and hop into an SCQ. And so I think the format needs like a little bit of help. There's people to play it, but it needs some help coordinating everybody online at the same time. Yeah, so I'm about midway through my spiel, but I was just wondering if Karasan or Toth, you guys had any questions for me, or if folks in the
Well,
chat had any question what I said so far. Yeah, go for it.
yes. First is there a public place that people can, like on a Discord, or do you have a forum thread up perhaps where people can go and read about the tournament?
Absolutely. So, I just linked the Discord in chat there.
Okay.
Toth got it too. Okay, thanks, Toth. So you can read. I've written out all the details of the tournament there, and all. In terms of the format, there aren't a ton of written resources about the format. I think maybe here's one thing I'll say about the format. So there's not a ton of AoE. It's primarily single target based. And because the way RoR is balanced, killing people is very hard in 6v6. Healing and tanking are too strong compared to the power level of the damage drops. Now, that might be changed a little bit since the patch, because time to kill has been reduced since the Choppa buffs and the current proc meta, but I still suspect that teams are going to find it very hard to secure kills against well-executed guarding and healing. So here's how, in a general way, you secure a kill in a 6v6 match. So the opposing team has 2 tanks and you have 2 tanks. You're basically always playing 2-2-2 in 6. 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. So the opposing team has 2 guards and you have 2 tanks. So each one of your tanks is going to line up a punt on one of their tanks. You have 2 DPS, so both of your DPS are going to line up some certain abilities. They're going to preload their dots, maybe. They're also one of them's probably going to prepare a knockdown, or maybe one of the tanks is going to prepare a knockdown, and one of the DPS is going to prepare a heal debuff. And you're going to look for an opportunity. There's one of the DPS will be the main assist, and they'll usually be calling when this is going to happen. And they'll do a countdown: 3, 2, 1, go. And on that go, both of your tanks will attempt to punt both of their tanks, pre-assigned, right? One guy will punt the Black Orc, the other guy will punt the Chosen. You'll throw up your heal debuffs. There'll be a knockdown, and everybody will launch their damage bursts, including especially morale drops. You might look for a kill drop on an M1 or an M2. A Destro team might do it on a Zealot, debuff, the withering touch or whatever it is, the purple icon, the Zealot M1. You might do it on a Choppa, drop the Basha. Depends. Sometimes if the game's really grindy or you're playing a specific comp, you might try to build to an M4, right? A Witch Hunter team might try to build to the Witch Hunter M4 Excommunicate, which says target player can't be healed for 18 seconds. That's basically a guaranteed kill, so you just build to that M4, try not to die, and then you just choose who you kill, and then you try to close out the team. The Witch Hunter stakes them, and you try to, maybe get on a healer or something. Countering that, right, the other team's trying to do the same thing. So, if I'm a Warrior Priest, I'm looking for that Zealot Talon, and I'm lining up my M1. That's the Sanctified Shield, the M1 that buffs armor and resists by a whole bunch. I'm lining that up to kind of counter the Zealot Talon. If I'm a Rune Priest, I'm looking for the damage drop, and I'm hitting, if maybe it's an AoE damage drop, I might hit my AoE shield, my M3. If it's a single target damage drop, I'm putting out my divine, my big M1 single target heal. I'm putting out my wounds buff. That's another big single target heal. So this sort of thing's what's happening. And then the other piece of it too is the healers have disruption abilities. So rune priests, for example, have a silence and a stagger. Archmages and shamans have a silence. So you're listening for those damage drops too, and you're trying to land a silence or a piece of disruption on the opponent's healer. Or maybe if I'm a rune priest and the tank gets punted out, I'm going to try to stagger that tank outside of guard range to help, support the damage drop. So it's very coordinated and precise kind of play once you get good at it. As you're learning it, it's going to be really chaotic.
Well,
But what you'll yeah, so go
that's
for it. Go for it.
that's where I'd like to interject for a moment, please. Um,
Yeah, by all means.
I approve 100% when when you talk about a learning curve for players in a 6v6 environment. I think the server, you know, can definitely benefit from that, and uh, it would have positive ramifications across the board. My concern is having played rank back when rank was a lot more active, I suppose. During that period when rank really was active. My concern is the toxicity that went along with that at the time. That drove a lot of players out of rank just because if you happen to lose one, uh, you thought you were going to wind up in divorce court. I mean, again, it. I mean, it was just it got to be too much at times. People's reaction to losing a match in ranked. So my question to you is, in that learning curve process that you're trying to promote, which I fully support, by the way, I really do. I fully support. But do you see the potential for that to creep in into what you're trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. In a competitive PvP online game, there's a lot of factors or risks pushing people towards toxicity. And it looks like Scrafty Jack has made the same point. And I'll say three things about that. So first of all, one of the big risks for toxicity, I think, or the bigger risk for toxicity is so there's inter-team toxicity and intra-team toxicity, right? There's fighting with your opponents, and then there's fighting within your team. And actually, I think fighting with your opponents is, you know, there's some sportsmanship rules around the tournament. There's going to be no, the Discord is for the administration and organization of the tournament and for sharing information with new players. It's not for people to trash talk each other if they want to do that in other discs. That's their own business. That's not my problem. In terms of like argument within your own team, I would just encourage people to go and build teams with people they're comfortable playing with, and so that toxicity risk within your own team is reduced. When in the solo rank queue, and for folks who aren't familiar with solo ranked, one of the commonly played ranked formats is the kind of sort of like a chaos format, all random format. You just queue your character into a team, and the game just makes two teams, mixed sides, so Destro and Order characters can be on the same side, and throws you into a 6v6. And then the norm in the community is that everybody hops into Discord together to discuss. And so
Yeah.
it's like you're playing a random scenario, except it's a 6v6 ranked match, and people are taking it fairly seriously. And because you're in with a stranger, people can get a little bit heated, and that can be a problem. I'll say personally, I did it when I played as a very new player, not renowned rank 80 and not fully geared yet. I had pretty good gear. I had my full Triumph set on my Rune Priest, and I had an event ring and a Gun Bad Diamond. But I was still missing some key pieces, and I just hadn't played the format before, so I wasn't playing at a very high level. I'd never had any negative experiences personally, although I did certainly see some people get a bit heated. I would say that if you're a new player going into that format, and if you're careful managing your own behavior, and just say, "Hey guys, I'm new. Let me know if you need something. Or let me know if you want me to do something different." I had good results with that. Just letting people know, "Hey, I'm here to cooperate, but like you queued solo ranked, and so you're stuck with me. Now let's try to win together." I think you want to give like a really polite version of that message to the people you're playing with. If they can't handle it, I didn't run into that situation across quite a number of games. And I want to emphasize I was quite bad. So there were certainly reasons why people might have gotten frustrated with my level of play.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so go for it.
Solo Spectator has come in. Let me address his. He says RR ranked toxicity is a joke compared to actual competitive video games like Laugh Out Loud or I don't know what LO. I don't know what LO. League of Legends. Okay,
League of Legends. Yeah, it's like a
League of
Dota.
Legends. Right. Um, our Dota people are extremely soft when they say our rank community is so toxic. All right. Uh, 2 points on that. One, uh, I'm not. I wasn't trying, nor would there be any logical point to trying to compare the Return of Reckoning crowd to any other game that's out there. There's no point in even suggesting a comparison between how toxic people can get here as opposed to how toxic somebody might be somewhere else, because somewhere else is somewhere else. We're trying to build. What I get from listening to you, what you're trying to do, is build back some team competitiveness into the server, which the server needs. And I mean, what you're doing is a good idea. It really is, and I would love to see it be successful. I only brought up the concern about toxicity because I've seen it before. Okay,
Yeah.
with ranked in its heyday, and but all right. So it says so here we go. You are delusional if you think rank dies every year after an active season because of toxicity. Okay, Oprah, I didn't say that either. All right, I didn't say that rank dies every year after an active season because of toxicity. I said that during rank's heyday, that there were people who left because of the toxicity. Those are two entirely different statements, and my concern, um, the only concern I voice is I would not want to see that happen again. So
Yeah, no, I totally hear the concern. I I'm optimistic that one that you can have you're never going to get rid of. I want to make a distinction. There's a difference between somebody who's just always abusive with other people and somebody who sometimes loses their cool in a competitive environment. And I can forgive somebody who loses their cool from time to time if they say, "Ah, you know what? That's my bad, man. I'm sorry, I got too heated there. I apologize." There's a difference between that and like somebody who's going at targeted harassment and trash talking constantly and just not being right. There's a big distinction there. And sometimes I think we call both behaviors toxic, and there's a sense in which they are. But one is kind of the person who loses their cool sometimes and then can apologize and take responsibility, versus the person who's just like always abusive towards other people. The person who can apologize and behave themselves is fine, and the person who's just always abusive, you need to get rid of them. They are really what you would call toxic. And I don't have a view about what the distribution of people are. I totally agree with you, Karasan and Toth, that toxicity in a community can cause people to stop playing. I also do agree with the user solo queue spectator that the primary issue facing ranked right now is lack of functional support, lack of opportunities to play. The queue's not getting fired. There was a very unfortunate disruption of a carefully organized tournament last December where several people spent a whole bunch of time organizing a tournament, and they got several competitive teams together, and then the ability patch was released that day, and the tournament was not playable. It was, yeah, it
well,
was
do
a
you
very,
remember?
yeah, it was a
I'm
very
sorry.
unfortunate. So yeah, go for it, go for it.
What I was going to ask, do you remember by chance? Because personally, I'm unfamiliar with your history on the server as far as how long you've been part of it. So I'm just asking, do you remember? It was a few years back where there were a number of 6v6 uh, contests and tournaments that they were called at the time that were held in some of the open spaces. I think one of them was in Chaos Waste. There was a big 6v6 tournament fight. Another one was in one of the elf zones. I don't remember which. Zarbix, who was an active streamer at the time, actually streamed a couple of those and
Yeah, I was
did
not
play by
playing
play.
when that happened.
You were not okay. Okay, well those were a lot of fun. I was asked to cover one of those myself. The one of the Chaos Waste I was asked to go in and and stream it as a non-participant and all that stuff. And Zarbix did that too. And the tournaments were fun. People put teams together. And then I played on it. I also played in another one, and they were a blast. They used to be the norm on the server, and that's why the stuff that you're talking about has got me a little excited here because I would, you know, I I've said many times I would love to see that stuff come back. I really would, because the stuff that you're talking about, the type of tournament you're talking about, is exactly what the server needs. And um, for what it's worth to you, if as a streamer of the game, I'm more than happy to offer whatever promotion or assistance I can to, just to get the word out. But the toxicity issue, I didn't quite mean for it to get that in depth, because I just saw it as sort of a, I mean, it is a kind of an inevitable byproduct, I suppose. It will happen with somebody somewhere, blah, blah, blah. So I appreciate you addressing the issue. So, but anyway, I wanted to make that point about the 6v6 tournament overall. I mean, the things are a blast. You get one going, they are an absolute blast. So please continue
Yeah, well,
to
thank you. Yeah, and I'll send you a link to the Discord, and hopefully you can share it with folks in your stream and let them know about it. I just want to hop up and address something Scrafty Jack said earlier, which is the problem with saying go make your own team is that it doesn't solve the server's default problem of no one wants a player that wants to learn the format, and attrition is a major problem for the server. I think that's a good point, Jack. So I'll say two things to that. One is hopefully we get solo queue back, and you don't need to make a team for solo queue. You solo queue into it, and you will have the opportunity to play with quite strong players. The next thing I'd say is go join the go join the tournament Discord and join the D rankers and RoR ranked Discords, and those are places where people sometimes form teams, talk about forming teams, talk about doing some skirmishes, and you can say, "Hey, I'm a new player. Do you have a spot for a newer X or Y player in your skirmish? I'd be happy to join." So that's a way of finding some skirmishes. And then the other thing you can do is just make a post in the looking for team section in in the tournament Discord, and there's a bunch of people have been posting there, and I know a bunch of people are getting together and forming teams. So you may find somebody that way. And the friendly format and the faction formats are great places to kind of learn in a chill way. And then finally, we're doing an hour of just solo queue madness before each tournament, and that's actually we got a bit away from it, but I'll just hop back to that now. The schedule each day. Sorry, Toth, you want to hop in or?
I just dealt with something. I'm gonna address something here real quick. Sorry to interrupt. You do
No
not
problem.
come into my podcast and disrespect me, calling me delusional or one of my guests or anyone in this channel that, and then you say, "Oh, I gotta go because I can confront you." Don't worry. Hey, you ain't gotta worry about coming back ever. And
Yeah,
that's a
that's fair
warning
enough,
warning
Toth.
to the rest of you. Don't try and challenge me in my own channel. I'm not gonna say it again.
Yeah, totally fair, Toth.
I'm level headed and I'm as laid back as I can be, being tolerant, and I try to show respect to everyone on the server. You come in here and try to pick a fight, you're gonna lose. I'll toss
and
you
now
out like garbage.
and now a word from our sponsor.
Please
I'm sorry.
continue, Pung. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Not a problem. You got to deal with the moderation issues. No worries, Toth. Yeah, so I
Oh
just
man.
I think I missed some of the scheduling stuff when I was describing the tournament. So just
One
the
second,
timing of the.
ad break pop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let me know when it's
this
over.
is a real ad break. Um,
Gotcha.
okay, so while we're on break, let me ask you a quick question, because as you may or may not have heard when we first started the stream, I'm hung over big time. I was, we went out last
we're back. No, I cut it out because it's an ad break from Twitch, so I halted it so you guys don't miss any of this discussion. Whenever there's an ad break on my end, Scrafty, I halt up the talk so that you guys don't miss anything because I want you guys to hear everything that's being said.
Okay. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea, this is the Toth Monitor podcast. And the man himself is here, and I'm here doing my usual thing, which is just to sort of help him out so that he does not have to do all the talking. And with us is Pung from Retribution, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
he's been talking about the 6v6 tournament that he's organizing, and which, you know, all power to you, brother. I think it's a great idea, and I like I said, I hope this gets going because a 6v6 tournament like that is something that the server needs. Okay, so what else? What other ground do you want to cover here?
Yeah, I should just talk a little bit about timing. So it's Friday, March 15th to 17th, as I mentioned earlier, and so this is all outdoor times that I'm speaking in. There will be sort of a warm up solo queue madness from 5:30 to 6:30 each day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's sort of in NA morning, EU late afternoon or after work kind of times, depending on your time zone. And the tournament, each round of the tournament will start at 7 each day. So on Friday, the competitive tournament will run. There'll be 3 rounds running Friday, um, 7, 8:15, 9:30 Altdorf. On Saturday, the same thing will happen, but for the faction tournaments. That'll be, the all greenskin teams, the all dwarf teams, 7, 8:15, 9:30 again for round 1, 2, 3. And then Sunday, we will have, if we need to fit around 4 for any of the tournaments, it will likely be scheduled onto Sunday a little bit earlier. So maybe around 4 or 5 Altdorf, something like that. Close to 5, probably 5 or 5:30 Altdorf. And then the finals for the playoffs or the top 4 for both the faction and the competitive tournament will be Sunday evening. So once again, 7, 8:15. And also on Sunday, the friendly tournament will occur. So the friendly tournament is there's no playoffs. It's just 3 rounds. Even if we have extra people, it'll just be 3 rounds, and it's sort of more, everybody's queue there if you're a new player. If you're a more experienced player, queuing there, queuing an alt, or join a less experienced friends team, that sort of thing. And it'll just be once again 7, 8:15, 9:30, 3 rounds in a row. And the tournament's going to be in a Swiss format. So what that means is that winners play winners, losers play losers. So first round, everybody's 0-0. You just get matched randomly. Second round, half the people will be 1-0. The other half will be 0-1. All the people who are 1 win, 0 losses play each other. All the people who are 0 wins, 1 losses play each other. Then, you get to, there's some people who are 2-0, some people are 1-1, some people are 0-2. Those all get matched. At the end of in a Swiss tournament, if you're 8 or fewer people, you play 3 rounds. If you're 9 to 16 people, or in this case 9 to 16 teams, you play 4 rounds. If you're 16 plus, you play 5 rounds. I don't anticipate we'll get more than 16 teams in any of the format. If we do, we'll sort out the scheduling for that. If we have extra teams in the friendly, we'll just do a reduced Swiss, so it'll still stick to 3 rounds. And then if we're extra teams, I have a plan to schedule extra rounds if we're extra teams in the competitive or the faction tournament, which actually at this point is looking reasonably likely that we might get to 9+ teams in those. So I'll probably be adding those to the schedule
Okay,
soon.
just as a possibility,
Yeah.
because I can, I can see it happen. Let's suppose you have 10 teams, 10 distinct teams sign up
Mm-hmm.
and run through the tournament, and then let's suppose Team 2 never got a chance to fight Team 7, and Team 2 and Team 7 have sort of, let's say they want to fight each other as sort of an ancillary part of the tournament. Would that be something that they would just go out and do on their own? or could you accommodate that? If you get two teams and say, okay, we want to fight these guys at least once. Can
Yeah,
can you accommodate that, or is that something that's going to happen? Just
that's a good question. Yeah, so the Swiss tournament format cannot accommodate that. I would just encourage people who would like to play against each other to go skirmish before the tournament, after the tournament, in between matches. There's gonna be a little bit of coordination required. I keep talking about queuing. I am planning to run this not out in the wild somewhere, but in the team ranked queue. And there's two reasons for that. One is that it gives me a very clear way of determining and recording winners. Right?
yeah,
You have 15 minutes to play. At the end of the 15 minutes, there's a score screen that tells me who won. You screenshot that score screen. I know who played in it. I know what the result is, and you show that to me in a channel, and it's kind of all verified. And that makes it very easy for me to manage the tournament. The other thing that happens is you also can't be griefed, right? If you're out somewhere in the wilderness, people can come upon you and cause problems. But in the tournament thing, you're left to your own devices. The other thing is it's nice. It'll give everybody a bunch of renown and crests to be fighting in this manner. The team
yeah.
ranked queue is extraordinarily lucrative. Every
Well,
win,
Scrafty.
yeah,
I'm
every
sorry,
win,
Scrafty
yeah.
makes a good point. Scrafty says, like an exhibition tournament, that it's something you could do before or after the tournament starts, and that's true. I was just, again, it's just one of those. I think will
It's a
probably
good
be
question.
inevitable. It'll be inevitable that you get two groups out there that don't like each other or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they want to play. Well,
um,
exhibition matches are. I mean, we're only running for 3.5 or four hours a day, right? So exhibition, there's
yeah.
tons of time to do exhibition matches, and they're definitely encouraged. Um,
Well, see, that's
the
something that I would make it again. I'm sorry to get off on a tangent here, but again, if people wanted to do that, an exhibition tournament, that's something that I would volunteer to go stream myself as as an impartial or not as a non-combative, right? Just go and stream the event so that everybody could see the. Because again, we used to do that. We used to do that on the server, and I'd like to see it come back. So, in that regard, my services are available if anybody wants to do something like that. But
yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
yeah, for sure. That's a good idea. If I hear anything about that, I'll put people in touch with you. If I see any interest in it, I'll mention it.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, and the last thing I should describe is how the playoffs work in this tournament. And so there's two pieces to this. In a Swiss tournament, what happens is after the however many rounds, based on the numbers of players have been, uh, after the round portion has been played, there's a cut to a top eight or a top four for a playoff portion. And so there's just a calculation of the people with the best records, and if there are tied records, there are tiebreakers. I am going to have to double check what the tiebreaker is in this tournament, so don't quote me on this, but some of the tiebreakers are, your total win percentage. You're playing best of three matches, so it's like your win percentage on games. One of the tiebreakers is sometimes like who beat who, like if there are two people tied, but they played each other and one of them won. That's one of the tiebreakers. Another tiebreaker is, at least in our format, would be total number of kills versus your team's sort of total KDA, right? If you lost badly a couple matches but won narrowly versus somebody who won by a large margin then lost narrowly once, that sort of thing. Um, I'll I'll have to. I should double check and record what the tiebreakers are defaulted to in the tournament recording system I'm using.
Let me intercede a little idea because I'm hearing and getting a lot of messages. What would you think if I went to bat and this is would be a good thing to go to bat with because Karras used to do this with Realm Watch where he would follow the fights. Say we can get it set up to where Karras could be the cameraman to go in and watch these fights, televise them.
If you could make that happen, if you could get the RoR team on
Well,
board to do that, that would be fantastic. If
I
either
was
or both
thinking.
of you would be interested in I don't know if they can make you like a little GM character that can like sit in the
He's
sky and just observe from that
Karras.
edge.
That's the thing. Karras still that account, as far as I know, is still there. He just needs
Yeah.
permissions to it. So, and I'm
Let me
sitting
address
here and
that real
getting
quick. Let me
go
address that
ahead.
real quick. The Realm Watch account that I used to use, for the show, the Realm Watch show. Uh, it was just part of the dev account. I had access to the dev account, and so the characters that I use is still there. The Realm Watch character and all that. It's just an and all it would take is just um, access to the dev account, which I have sort of an inside track. Again, for those who may not know, my own flesh and blood son, who's right now down the hall in his bedroom, Techno. I mean, Techno is my flesh and blood son. He's part of the team. He has access to the dev account. I see him on it all the time. So, and then when you're on the dev account, you can teleport to scenarios. The only thing you need to know is, okay, what scenario are these guys in? That's all you need to know, and you can teleport to it. So, and then you can stream, and that would be a big hit too, just to stream the action. So if you're not averse to that, Pung, if you're not averse to that, I'll follow up and see if I can set up, streaming some of the fights just for the.
Well,
Right.
I'm some of the messages I'm getting is like I'd watch that. That'd be a big hit. That one saying that'd be free advertisement. One person's like with Smite, they offer that where you can watch other people's matches. It's also a great free way to advertise the action on the server, show competitive play on various levels. So apparently, you got something here that could spark some major interest. And as I said before, I'm gonna send this to the devs, but I would say this definitely bears looking into because this would be a good opportunity to showcase the server, another aspect to the server, and the server needs all the publicity it can get, and the streamers are the front line on that. To be honest.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And I think the certainly streams and observations of the game are very interesting. One thing I'd say is it would be important that you had a bit of a delay, a couple minute or two
Yeah,
delay.
that that wouldn't be a problem.
Especially yeah, I'm sure it's easy to manage. Um, yeah, just because. uh, Well, I mean, you're not seeing. No, it would be important to have a couple minutes of delay. Saying you're not seeing anything, but you could have like a different angle, and then you see something. Yeah, so it would be good to have the delay. Um, yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. If you can get it sorted out, that would be fantastic. And I'll message Hasmi, the community manager, after this to let him know that you guys are thinking about that, and that if the RoR team can get on board with that, that's certainly something I'm on board with. Having the matches streamed.
I'm going by what people are saying. I'm just relaying it reactions. So there's definite interest in it, and it's not the first time I've heard that brought up. Like, is there a way to watch? A lot of people do learn better visually, so
Yeah. Yeah,
it'd
that's
be
true.
it'd be free advertisement of the server, and if it's a big enough hit, it could become a regular thing, a way to breathe much needed life into the server.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Well,
Well, yeah, sorry. The last thing I wanted to say
okay,
about
go ahead. Yeah.
the tournament was that, um, and this is something I'll be sort of figuring out going forward. But I've got a first round of it for this one. We haven't really gotten into in RoR since I've been playing the really what does a really competitive, balanced 6v6 format look like? And here's the kind of the problem with any MMO is that team compositions often end up being some kind of rock paper scissors situation, right? You know, this composition, composition A beats composition B beats composition C, right? C beats, and so you don't want to resolve a tournament by, okay, we played each other in the Swiss, we got to the top four, and one person's playing rock and three people are playing scissors, and rock just wins the tournament. So here's how In the Swiss, if you're playing rock and you run up against paper, you take a loss, but you can still make the top four. You go 2-1, you win your other two matches, right? In the top four, what we're doing is instead of having a composition that you just run into the tournament, what you do is you draft from your own team. So players playing the competitive tournament will be encouraged to field a roster that has access to every class or many classes. Every class is an exaggeration, but has access to, okay, we want to swap out this tank, we want to change our, shield doc healer for a shaman healer, make these little changes. Now, if you're making these changes, if the other guy's playing rock, you're just going to change to paper. So what you do is you draft it. But instead of drafting from a champion pool, you draft from your own team. So just like a League of Legends or a Dota draft or whatever, you're going to get into a channel together and you're going to say, team one's going to say, okay, we're drafting our chosen tank. He's in. And then the next team says, okay, we're drafting our Rune Priest and our Cobb's tank, right? And then the other team says, okay, we're going to draft our, Slayer DPS and you sort of reveal your teams to each other from the agreed upon pool. You both have a roster. We have these 8 players. We've showed you these 8 players have these 25 tunes they have available to them, so you kind of know what the other team's drafting from. You kind of slowly reveal the comp to each other, and you maybe need to adjust a little bit. And so I think that that's the most, rather than just queuing in with your 6 and seeing what happens, that's the most balanced way to set up the compositions in the playoffs. And I'm hoping it'll give players an opportunity to really draw on, a really great RoR player is somebody who can excel in multiple classes, multiple specs, and in multiple comps. And so it'll give teams an opportunity to lean on the flexibility in their roster in terms of depth of play skill and breadth of play skill to eke out that that advantage. If the other team can only play one way, you're going to be able to come in with a different angle and beat them in the draft. And it also, we are playing an MMO, so it does reward people with multiple highly geared characters. And in the competitive format, that's something that I think is valuable because that's part of an MMO is building up strong characters, right? That's you're supposed to get a reward for that.
Sorry.
Did you see what
question.
Scraffy? Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, Scrafty, you draft so you're not drafting back and forth. Like you have a team with 6 members and 2 alternates. So you're saying, and those 6 members and 2 alternates, maybe they have 25 characters between them, right? And so you're choosing. Well, you could think of it. You're choosing a character, right? And that character is always played by the person who owns it, right? You got to play on your own account. That's not my rule. That's the RoR dev rules, right? But yeah, so you're drafting both the player and the class one at a time. And in terms of you can spec anything. So the way ranked works is that when you get into the match, there is a respec guy in there. And the rules of this tournament is you can use that respec guy as much as and whenever you want. And so that's just on your judgment to, like, you're looking at their team and it's like, oh, they've got a Witch Elf. We need, they're going to be using the Witch Elf M4 and we need this tool to deal with it. I'm changing my spec. That's so you reveal to your opponents at the start of the tournament, here is our roster with our people and classes. And then, in the Swiss portion, you play your Swiss roster, which is fixed. It's if you're playing Choppa Witch Elf, you got to play Choppa Witch Elf throughout the whole Swiss tournament. And then in the competitive portion, you reveal your classes that you're bringing in each match through the draft. And then, you show up with the spec you show up with. And that's part of the guessing game and the skill and, knowing all the combinations and what you want to go in with. And when I've had the opportunity to play with very experienced 6v6 players, they're making these kind of swaps. They're saying, okay, we're in game 3 now. They've been trying this last time. I'm going to change it up. I played one game with Matt where he swapped. They were focusing his pet, and so he swapped to that White Lion spec that says when your pet dies, you get 50% damage bonus. And they kept killing his pet, and he just went nuts on them. So those sort of clever plays are certainly allowed and of course encouraged in the tournament.
Yeah, I have a question, please.
Go for it.
The first one you have is you said March 15th through the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one is successful. And again, you may have said this already, but just to be sure, if that one is when would you do another one? What is the follow on?
That's a good question. So the answer is I think I probably only have the bandwidth to do this at most once every 2 or 3 or 4 months, something like that. So that's the first part of the answer is a little bit later. Um, and that's not to, if anybody else wants to run one of these, by all means, I'll give you all the information about how I did it, help you out if I can. But the next time I'd be able to do that is then. And then the next part of exactly when in that time frame, if this tournament is successful and well liked and people want to do another, is I'm going to consult with the RoR team. And there's a couple things I'm going to try to get from the RoR team if I'm able to run another one. And the first one is I would hope to have an event, as they have these, 7 or 8 or 10-day events. I'm going to try to persuade them to have a full ranked event week. Where there'll be a mount and structured rewards available for people playing the 6v6 format, and then align my tournament with that as a way to get the event thing done. And so then it would be a question also of working with the RoR team schedule and how that fits into their event schedule. The second thing, if that's not possible, if that's not something the RoR team is interested in, then at very least I would check with them and try to get a sense of
Ad break.
their
1
events.
second. Ad break.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
ATB Mortgage. Powering possibility. That's a nice ad. Okay, it looks like we're back. Are we back?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the timer on my end.
I picked up a new sponsor for my stream. The Shaquille O'Neal home pregnancy test. That was a big deal.
The Shaquille O'Neal home train. That's an interesting sponsor. I didn't know
Yeah.
we had that.
Funny. I don't think it'll be a problem getting your idea pitched to the devs since I'll send this directly to my Max.
Yeah, no, I mean it'd be great if we. Okay, it looks like to me where I see your stream back, Toth. I'm seeing the subtitles going.
Alright, go for it.
Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying right. And so if the devs are interested and willing to talk about a week-long ranked event that the tournament kind of coincides with, that would be fantastic. That's the best case scenario. And then the scheduling is okay. What works? What scheduling works along with that. And if that's not possible, if that's not something you're interested in, fair enough. The next thing on scheduling is going to be making sure it aligns with their events. Right, so I assume that there'll be an Easter event. I know that there'll be a ring event coming in the summer. Not know, but I would suspect that there'll be a ring event coming in the summer again.
Yep.
I don't know
I
if
can
there's
verify that.
You can verify that. Okay.
Yeah,
very good.
it is. The Twilight event will come back.
Okay, that's fantastic. Are you able to share if there'll be a PVE way to get
Nope.
the material? No PVE way. Only PVE.
No,
Oh, so
can't share anything as in
can't
hush.
Okay, totally fair. But you can confirm the ring event's coming. That's actually very helpful to know. That's good information. I'll certainly share that around. So making sure it aligns, right? I don't want the ranked tournament to occur at the same time as another event. And I've talked to Hasmi, and he's been able to confirm for me that the 15th to 17th doesn't overlap with any special events. So there won't be competing with people trying to farm like a mount or a quest line or something. And then the final thing is I've got various real life obligations, so I have to find a time that is going to work for me.
Yeah, that's always true. Anything.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the whole spiel for the tournament, and I'm hoping folks sign up, get involved. If you're just generally interested, hop in the Discord, post in the looking for team. If anybody's interested in being a team captain for any of the events, the friendly, the competitive, or the faction event, team captains are great, and the stew raffle is going to be for team captains specifically because I appreciate the work that people do to put content together for other people. And so I'm tossing a bunch of my stews into a raffle among all the team captains, and that's an early bird raffle. So if you get a team together and get it posted by 1 week beforehand, so that would be March 8th, I think.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah. By Friday, March 8th, you'll be entered into that raffle. And I farmed a lot of stews, so it won't be a trivial prize.
That's good. I mean, that's good. I thought the stews were again one of the better ideas, better concoctions that the server come up with lately.
Yeah, I like the stews a lot too. I found it to be an enjoyable event, and they're great. They're not overpowered, but they're nice. Like, they're a nice little bonus, and they're convenient too. Popping a Lenny every 30 minutes is really annoying. But once an hour is fine. Aligns with the armor pot, it's easier to keep
I do have a question for you guys about something that's coming up in June on my end that might be an opportunity for the RoR community, but it would mean me needing help from the community to pull it off. So I want to run an idea past you if you're done with the 6v6 thing, Pong.
Yeah, I'm done my spiel. Go ahead.
And I do appreciate you coming in and explaining it to everybody. Last night, one of my affiliates programs that I'm with, they have been invited to a convention that's about an hour from where I'm at right now. It is a big, massive gaming convention for PC gaming, MMOs, and many others. I'm going to try and go, but I need help trying to get there. Basically, I'm gonna have to do a donation goal or a sub goal to raise the money to go. Here's the thing. It'd be a great way to advertise the RoR community. And I'm wanting to know what you guys in chat think. What your thoughts on it? Is it worth trying to do to spread the word on the RoR family? Get more word coverage out on the server at a convention.
Well, what convention is it again?
The Midwestern Convention, Gaming Convention. It's in June.
Yeah, well, so I'd say promotion and getting the word out there is always good. I'm far from an expert on marketing or community engagement. That's something, Toth, I'd recommend you talk to Hasmi and Emissary about it.
They can't do anything. If I do this, the RoR team can't get involved in anything that would be like raising money for advertising. If I do this, I have to do it on my own.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, it sounds like a great idea to me. That's not my area of expertise. If you do try to pursue it, though, I'll definitely share it in the Red Discord and let people know about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm an affiliate with Freshen Up is who it's through. They're gonna be at the event, and they've asked all their partners and affiliates to be there. And I'm, like I said, I'm a little over an hour, maybe an hour away at most, and I got to reading into it with all the gaming groups that are gonna be there. It'd be a big opportunity to put word out about RoR because they're gonna have stuff set up there for gaming and stuff. People be talking shop, and it'd be a golden opportunity to put the word out there on the server. Free publicity for the server. So I'm asking you guys in the chat what you think about this. Because I really
Well,
do want y'all's feedback.
I guess my response is, I would love to be able to see you go, uh, for reasons that aren't, restricted to just simply promoting the server. Um, yeah, I think it would be great for you to be able to get out there and be involved in something like that. So, however, I have to agree with, what I have to agree with Pong on one thing is, I don't. Given that on my stream, I don't really market in that way. I don't. My subscriptions are not enabled. My stream is, money free. You know that. But what the consequences is when it comes to trying to promote something like subscriptions, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to tell you, man. I get, when it comes to marketing something like that, I wouldn't know what to tell you. I think it's worthy. I'd love to see you be able to do it.
Mm. It's I it for me. It's just getting because I'm because of my mobility issues. It's getting from where I'm at to there's the biggest
Yeah.
trick. The tickets for the event are not that much. I could come up with that myself. It's just getting from point A to point B. But I wanted to run the idea past the RoR community because I'm willing to try this to help the community. Otherwise, me personally, it's I wouldn't normally try it because it's hard on me traveling even short distances.
Well, I guess my best advice is put it up and see what happens.
Um, I'll wait and see what kind of answers I get back because I just wanted to put it out there and see what people thought on that idea. Maybe getting more coverage for the server and go from there.
Oh man.
We'll we'll
Oh,
we'll
sorry.
we'll
Sorry about that.
we'll we'll
I thought I
we'll,
turned my
we'll
mic
see
off.
we'll see scrapped. Yeah, I may do that and see what what how the RR gang reacts to it. That's all I can do. I mean, I'm just looking at it from the point of view it'd be a gold opportunity to showcase the server because they're going to be doing cash prize tournaments at this event, and there's going to be some top end groups that'll show up to compete in those tournaments from across just about every spectrum. So, golden opportunity to talk shop with other gamers, and who knows, probably ones that used to play Warhammer or like Warhammer don't know the server still that's even going. So easy way to you know maybe
Yeah.
get attention for the server.
Allow me to interject for a moment, please, on another. Um, Pug, excuse me. I've been in the midst of a coughing fit. That's why I keep turning my mic off. Anyway, Pug, you went over the whole, uh, all the material that you wish to. Do you have something else? Because I mean, do you have something else you want to cover?
Oh
Because if you
no,
don't,
that was the full tournament. I actually
okay,
have to. I got to grab lunch with my wife before City here, so
okay.
I got to get going. But I just
Well,
wanted to say thanks a lot for having me on the podcast, Todd. I know it was good chatting with you as well, Karasana. I really appreciate it, and I hope folks follow the link, join the tournament, and I'll see you guys in the 6v6
yeah.
games.
Thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Appreciate
Later
you
on.
being here.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
You too. I do.
Okay, that was a good deal, I think. Just
Yeah.
and the brief. Let me just give a brief recap. When I say brief, I mean brief. Pong has been talking about his 6v6 tournament using the scenario brackets. March 15th, 16th, 17th. There's a Discord link upstream somewhere. So everybody, please, if you can participate and give it some support because it's a good idea. It's a good idea. All right, Toth, you got something, please?
Yeah, I just posted the link. I have the tournament Discord attached to a hot command in my stream chat. 6v6 command will pull it up for you guys. I do have one other point of business to talk to you guys about now that, unless you have any other topics you want to bring to the table, cares.
Well, I was going to talk about scenarios. The issue you brought up earlier um, about scenario play, but I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to go do some other things as well. So we can bring that one up. We can save that till next time.
Well, and I'll go ahead and touch on the other thing I wanted to discuss. This pertains to the future of the podcast gang. I want the podcast to continue no matter what happens, in lieu of some things going on with me. I'm gonna turn things over to Karis, because the 8th of this coming week I have to have a procedure. Not gonna go into details, but it's supposed to be, long story, it's supposed to be a test to check some stuff, but there are risks. So I'm gonna be out of commission for at least 4 days minimal, if not longer. I don't bounce back from things like this, but I want y'all's thoughts on what would you think of possibility of the podcast, the days changing. Would you like to maybe see them earlier in the week, on a different day and time? For the longest time I've kept them on Saturdays because that's what everybody has told me works for them. If that's what people want to stick with, that's what we'll stay to, because I know the European, the Australian people, that, because of time difference, Saturdays tend to be the one day that everybody can always make it. But since I'm
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I don't think changing. I think keeping the schedule that you have with the podcast would be probably the best thing to do. For all the reasons you've said. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So, but what I am gonna do is I'll still help organize and whatnot and put out info, but I'm effectively gonna hand the reins to Karis for a little while, and I would ask you guys, please treat him with same respect. Help support this, because I want these podcasts to can continue no matter what, because it's important, and the devs have asked that I keep going with them, because it helps them with doing stuff for you guys. So please, if you have topics you want to discuss, continue bringing them up. DM Cares, DM me. Obviously, with me about to have to take a break, I might not be able to answer, but if you DM it, I'll forward it to Karis or just send it to him direct. But he's gonna helm the podcast, so it'll most likely be on his channel, or we'll set something up. We'll figure it out because I gotta get it all, that end of it all worked out. We'll go from there. But I wanted you guys to know what was up. So for a little while, that's what's gonna be going down.
Well, then just let me say that I appreciate your trust in me, and I'll try to keep this alive for you until you can come back and take over again. So the only thing I can say is we'll have another one 2 weeks from today, as usual.
Alright. Well, you heard him, guys. Look for them announcements. I'll go ahead and put out an announcement and some other stuff, and I'll keep posting right up until the morning I leave for the hospital. And I'll try to get something posted after I'm out, or get word to somebody that can pass it along what's going on. But it's serious enough to be that I'm worried. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here. I always appreciate all the feedback, all the input. Again, I'll be sending all this to the devs. Big thank you for Karis for being the voice of things and handling things. Karis, all yours to finish it. I gotta quit talking.
My pleasure, buddy. I'll be in touch, all right?
All right.